As a realtor, I've viewed hundreds of homes, and over the years, I've figured out what is important to look for as a buyer when you're house shopping. So without further ado, let's dive into my house shopping checklist. So the first item on the checklist is location. So it's very important to consider the location when you start looking at houses. So when you get to the house, you want to take note of the neighborhood. You want to look at the street and see, what are the houses like on this street? What does the neighborhood look like? Is there going to be a lot of traffic on this street driving up and down? What is the proximity to different schools, parks, your work, different amenities like that? You want to take all of this into consideration when you're looking for a house, because location is something that you can't just fix. All right, so let's move on to number 2 on the checklist. So next up is the size and layout of the house. So as you start walking through the home, evaluate room by room the space that is available to you. So if you want a decent sized dining room, then look around and see, is this going to fit my dining room table and fit my whole family in here? And same with the living room, the bedrooms. You want to take note of how many bedrooms there are and bathrooms, just to see that this is going to fit your family and your needs. You also want to consider future plans. I see a lot of people make this mistake when they're buying a house. They just are kind of thinking in the here and now, and they're not really thinking down the road. So if you're thinking of expanding your family, or you're thinking of maybe starting to work from home, you want to take all of that into consideration so that you don't have to add on to your home or think about selling and buying something different in a couple of years. So moving on to our third item, you want to take note of the condition of the property. So as you look through the rooms, take a look at the walls. See if you can notice any cracks. See if you can notice any water stains in the bathroom or in the basement, in different areas. You also want to make note of the age of some of the major systems, like your furnace, your water heater. You want to take a look at the shingles, the age of the windows. All of these things can be quite costly when needing to replace them. So don't be afraid to make notes as you go through the home, because you're going to want to remember these things later so that you can calculate the cost of, possibly fixing or renovating these different items. So we do recommend, when you are house shopping, you could be looking at 4, 5, 6 houses all in a row. So if you have this checklist in front of you as you're looking, you can sort of be making some notes and jotting down some things as you're looking through the house. So number 4 on our checklist is the outdoor space. So take a look at the backyard and the different things that you want in a backyard. Do you need your yard to be fenced? Would you like to have a garden area or a deck or a fully landscaped yard? Maybe you don't feel like you want to do the work of landscaping, and trust me, it is a lot of work. So you want to make note of these things. Another thing that people don't realize is that landscaping is actually very costly. It can be very expensive if you're kind of starting with a blank slate. So take all of that into consideration for sure. So our 5th item is natural light. So this is something that people don't think about. I don't think a lot of people would really take note of this as they're house shopping, but when you go into a home, you want to take a look at the windows, the size of the windows and the placement of the windows, because natural light is really, really important. It can add a lot of warmth to a room, and obviously it's nice to have, again, that natural light. All right, and lastly, but certainly not least, is to consider your budget. So when you're going through the home, you want to think about not only the purchase price or the asking price that is on the home. Now that you've seen the property, you're going to be able to also add on potential fixes that need done, so repairs and the renovation. So you're going to want to add all of that up and then take that into consideration along with the asking price. Now there's other costs as well, like the property taxes. So that's a big one, because property taxes can add on another cost per month. There's your insurance and then your utilities as well. So you're going to want to take all of that into consideration and make sure that you're staying within your budget. And there you have it. If you are a first-time home buyer, I'm sure that this checklist is really going to help you in your buying process. Just make sure that you take your time, do your research, and consult with professionals if needed. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will see you next week.